Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we're so hungry for a new Metroid game, you might even call us ravenous. I'll see you at midnight on the riverbank, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society sees you on the riverbank with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including rumors of a new Metroid game, and then on Thursday, we're finally tackling it. It's part one of our Mario Kart World costume ranking. Well, Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. I feel like it's very possible that we don't have to worry about there being any DLC that could potentially disrupt a Mario Kart World costume ranking.
Yeah. You think that once we do this ranking, and we anticipate it being multiple parts, we're not saying just now how many parts we think it'll be, but once we finish that'll be the definitive word on it. Nintendo won't dare upset the apple cart with more costumes.
I think it's possible. I mean, I think they charged $80 for a reason.
Yeah, but that would sort of imply that they could just add more costumes. They haven't yet. Which is a great counterpoint.
You're right. Maybe I'm tempting fate by trying to definitively declare what Nintendo will or won't do.
You definitely are. But hey, I think that's what we're here for. I think that's why we make lists. I think that's why we make predictions, is just to be proven foolish by Nintendo.
And maybe in a perverse way,
yes,
by creating this list, we will be mocking the Nintendo fates. And of course, they will very shortly after announce new costumes.
Yeah,
which could be fun in and of itself.
It's sort of the opposite of the be the change you want to see in the world. It's like tempt the other side to change by you being so obnoxious about it.
Yeah.
Or whatever's happening. Are we being obnoxious? I don't think we are. I think it's normal. If you would like to listen to more of us and determine whether or not we're being obnoxious, head on over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you are supporting us at the 8 or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS at the Movies.
Yes, where Patrick, myself, and usually a special guest are going to the movies and then talking about the movie that we saw. We don't have nailed down exactly what we're going to do for July, but there are some good options in front of us.
We do already have plans and tickets to see the Odyssey together, so maybe we just do the Odyssey. And that'll be like the easiest booking ever, because everyone's going to see the Odyssey.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, students. Stupid students. But yes, you can head on over to Patreon, and we have miniseries available. There's 2 or 3 seasons of. We're still calling the current season of NCS at the Movie season 2, right?
I think so.
Even though it's kind of extended into the latter half of the year. Yeah. Anyway, there are a bunch of miniseries up there. You can. Some of them are available on the free level. Some are available at the 4-bit level. Check it out. See what's of interest to you. What you feel comfortable paying. And enjoy. Also, another thing that could be enjoyed is being in our Discord. If you are not there already, but you would like to be, email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. We will send you an invitation. You come on in, you chat with us. It's a great, good time. Mark, we got an email, so speaking of the Discord, from Dexter in the Discord, saying Dexter emailed us a couple months ago saying that he was making his way through our back catalog and had just finished listening to our E3 2019 episode.
Oh, we were so young.
We were pre-COVID.
Our voices had probably just dropped.
I think that's right. Mine was probably in the process of dropping.
Probably, yeah.
Because we're anywhere near that young. But Dexter poses an interesting question, saying, back when Metroid Prime 4 was rebooted in 2019, when the development of the game was rebooted, NCS did an episode on games you felt could have been redone. Now that Metroid Prime 4 is in our hands and the reception is lukewarm, do you think the reboot, ignoring the fact that it already was a reboot, would qualify for that episode's list of games needing a reboot? So, here was the concept of the original episode. That Prime 4 had stopped its original development and was being restarted basically at Retro Studios with like a brand new pitch for what the game would be. And we were like, what Nintendo games that came out sort of half baked do we wish could have had that same treatment?
And what's interesting with Metroid Prime 4 is that what we learned in the developer interviews around the game's release is that it was rebooted, but not fully. Like, not necessarily a
Right.
new pitch. There were elements of the original game design that carried over into the development of the new game. And really, and they were even very upfront when talking about the development and release of Metroid Prime 4 that the open world, that valley, the area that was connecting, the different like dungeons,
Soul Valley?
Soul Valley,
Yeah.
that was something that aged poorly. Like when they started development, elements like that were trendy and they fell out of trend by the time the game released.
I do sort of feel like the desert doesn't need to be bad, right? Like I think if like it had been designed with more intent and stuff to do, or even if you had better like either mobility around it or the mobility was more fun. The bike, I don't hate the bike nearly.
I think
as
riding
much
the
as-
bike is really fun.
I think it's really fun. You just don't have that many things to do. Like there are a handful of like lining it up so you can like take a jump to get up to a thing just right. But like, yeah, there's kind of like just too much pain in the butt around it.
Yeah. And, a lot of those complaints center around needing to gather all those green crystals
Yes.
in order to, like, finish the game. And I wonder if you just got rid of that entirely.
Yeah, I think you can get rid of it entirely. I think, and mind you, this is just us pitching like tiny fixes and not necessarily rebooting it. I also think that because it's as you are growing your like crystal thing, one of the upgrades, it's like the one right before it's like just the what's left of it.
Yeah,
is
it's basically like 75% of it or
yes,
something
that's right.
like
75% of crystals gathered that you get a thing that like points to where there's still crystal to collect. That you should get that much earlier.
I think that so to answer like the Dexter's question, do I think that the game needed to be rebooted? No, because I think that it's 75% a good. I was going to say really good, but a good Metroid Prime game.
Yeah.
My feeling is that all of those games overstay their welcome,
Mm-hmm.
and so the way that this game ends, even if you excise the desert stuff entirely, like when you're
Right, it's not enough to like radically transform it.
I guess what I'm saying is that for me, if you cut out the desert stuff entirely, at that point it just feels like another Metroid Prime game because I think the endings of all of those games are kind of rough and tedious. So
what we're saying here is that conceptually Metroid Prime as a franchise needs to be rebooted. What we've got going on right now
I guess
is
that's
too reliant on things that annoy us.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Because even the original Metroid Prime, which is my favorite in the series,
yes,
the end of that game is a slog. Having to go back through and collecting all those different artifacts is so awful.
Yes.
And so boring and so tedious. And every game has something like that. So maybe what needs to be rebooted is the endings, how Metroid Prime games end.
Yes. Also, just backtracking in general in games. Let's reboot entire concepts here.
I mean, yes, I think the short of it is, I don't know that it would benefit from being rebooted.
Or it would just be a total like crapshoot as to whether it would benefit or not, right? Like I think that in a lot of ways that game like is pretty good and like sold about as well as it was ever going to sell. Like I just think there is a real ceiling on both like quality of a Metroid Prime game and like commercial reception to a Metroid Prime game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those series that just for whatever reason, the reality of the series, of the people making it, maybe it makes sense that it's Tanabe, who is also or was also over the Paper Mario series, that
Oh yeah,
just has
interesting.
no interest in doing the things that like the general fan consensus is he should do. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like the Nintendo benefits all the time from doing not what people are asking them to do. So, um, maybe the biggest casualty of that is the Metroid franchise. But every now and then, like they're putting out Metroid Dread. Where it's like, who would have said that that was the smart choice for the series to like put out another 2D one, and yet it sold really well, the best selling Metroid game, right?
I think that's I think it overtook Metroid Prime. So yeah, I think that's right.
So Dexter, I don't think we answered your question, but let's get into what we've been playing this week. Mark, you've been playing a brand new release.
Yeah, I've been playing Rhythm Heaven Groove. They're the way that the did you end up picking this up or
I
have
did
you
not.
started
I
it
did
all?
not, no.
Okay, yeah. So the way that the game is presented to you is there are different like vertical lines, and each one there are like I don't know 3 or 4 levels, and then a capper that's like it mixes all of the different things that you did
Okay.
in that like it's very simple. The presentation is very simple. Uh, and I've done about 6 of those. I'm on like the 7th one. I have no concept of how many there are, but I don't think I'm that far into it. Like I think there's a
Yeah,
lot to
sure.
see left. Um, I did you play the demo at all, or
No, I still have yet to, in any form or fashion, play any Rhythm Heaven game. Period.
okay? I guess they showed it off in or they introduced a narrator character in one of the directs or a trailer for it or
Okay.
something like that, and she kind of has a Tamagotchi life type voice.
Oh yes.
But the game from the very beginning gives you an option to be like, do you want to hear me talk? And I was like,
Interesting.
no, I do not. And I feel good about that choice.
Hey, all video games, take a note.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of awesome to be like, do you want to hear me to continue doing this? Because you don't have to. You can turn this off. And I did. So with the caveat that I think there's a lot of game ahead of me, it makes sense that there aren't that many different ways to present like rhythm in a game. It's usually either there's
Especially when it's just you pushing a button, right?
sometimes
Are there multiple buttons?
there are multiple buttons, but it's
Here we
always
go.
one button at a time, or at
Okay.
least that I've encountered so far. It's like push. One of the early ones is there's 4 cars in a row, and you're like a car in that's sharing the middle, and so you're trying to either go or stop in time with the other cars, so you don't like bump into them or
Yeah.
anything. And that's an early example of like 2 different buttons. It's like, oh,
Gotcha.
you push A to go, and then you push down on the D-pad to stop at the same time with everybody else. And so there are those where it's like you're in a group and there's 2 buttons and you're trying to push those buttons at the same time. And then I think what I'm trying to get at is that it does begin to feel kind of samey after a while because
Yeah.
there's only so many presentations you can do. Yes, every game has a different little like vignette. Sometimes you're a robot working in a pudding factory
Sure.
and you need to catch the puddings or you need to shoot them with lasers out of your eye because they're bad puddings.
Mm-hmm.
Like as one does. So they find a lot of cute little like vignettes. There's one where you're an alien who's dancing, and there's a storm cloud above that's like a frowny face, and it's trying to zap you with lightning, but you can teleport, and so you're trying to teleport before the lightning can hit you.
That's fun.
And it's super cute. Like there's a lot of like cute stuff, but for me, it does begin to feel like okay, this is kind of the same. But I think in some ways that is a positive thing because it's a game that I don't feel like I need to mainline.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, now that I've gotten as far as I have, this seems like something I can easily jump into, play a couple, bounce off of, go back to Indiana Jones, come back, play Rhythm Heaven a little bit more. It's cute, it's enjoyable. There's a reason it's $40.
Yeah. Sure. All right. So, have you sat down for like multiple play sessions with it, or just like one?
No, I
Yeah,
have.
okay.
Yeah, it's been multiple play sessions over like the last couple of days.
And like, if you could just like approximate, like how long is each one of those play sessions? Like 20 minutes, or like how
That's a good
long?
question.
Yeah.
No, I would say that I played longer than that most of the
Okay.
time. I've never done one completely perfectly. So I don't there are I have earned a perfect score where like it gives you a label at the end of it where it's
Yeah,
like
sure.
good, really good, perfect. And when you do perfect, you get like a medal. And getting medals unlocks like additional things that you can do. Um but I've gotten perfect a couple of times, even though I'm not actually perfect.
Yeah,
So I'm
gotcha.
assuming that there are levels beyond what I've achieved where it's like, no, if you're like truly perfect,
Dude, you get like an actually perfect.
and I'm guessing like that there are additional difficulties above. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I also haven't tried the like spell casting RPG mode that they
Oh,
have in
right.
there at all
Yeah. I
yet.
forgot that was part of this.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of stuff that I
And
have
they
yet
like
to
present
uncover.
that as like a separate game mode,
It,
or
it's on that grid.
yeah,
It's a box for you to select. So
I
yes, it is
understand.
like
Okay.
a separate game thing. Um, so it matches my expectations of the Rhythm Heaven games in the past. Like I remember Megamix feeling the same way, where it's like I never completed Megamix. That was the 3DS one because it just felt like okay, and I'm doing a lot of the same stuff. But I think having a game to go
Yeah, mess around
to
with
mess
for a
around
couple
with,
minutes. Yeah.
yeah, is a fun exercise.
Um, and that's like sort of the bucket that I put uh like a lot of the WarioWare games in my head, and like that's something that for me made WarioWare Gold, again the 3DS version, so fun and playable. Was that like it was just always on my 3DS, so I could always pull it out on a plane
Yeah.
and like just hypnotize my brain for 45 minutes, or sometimes longer. But it's never like a game that I'm sitting down to like play, have this like narrative experience or an adventure or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a time killer.
Yeah, probably best experienced in small doses
Yeah.
is we should play at some point multiplayer. I think it would be fun to experience. I've never done
Yes.
multiplayer in these games.
Yes, we
so,
should.
Yeah.
We'll see if that happens.
We're really bad at playing games
We're
together.
really bad at playing games together, even though I feel like we've been spending more time together outside of recording. But just for whatever reason, we don't play games.
You don't have it on your list here, and so not to put you on the spot, but
Yes.
did you end up playing Star Fox with via game chat or whatever?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
We
yeah.
ended up not playing Star Fox, but I would still like to. And that's another one that we should
add
play.
it to the list.
Right. So how are you? It has fit your or met your expectations.
Mhm.
Are you feeling like, yeah, I'm glad I spent $40 on that, or
Yeah, I think so.
okay.
I feel like again, I don't think I'm done with it. I
Right.
think it's a game that I will continue to return to, but it is not a game that I feel the need to mainline. But every time I turn it on, I've had fun. And I think like the challenges are fun. Not all of them. There's also this thing where like sometimes I swear the tracks are not helpful at all in keeping the rhythm.
Oh, interesting.
Like I don't even know how to explain it, but there's
Yeah.
a couple where it's like I don't feel like what you're asking me to do is in time to the music. Now it is totally possible that I just don't have the rhythm of that particular song.
It's also totally possible that like whatever is happening between like audio and input lag, that it's not like matching up totally. Are you playing it on the TV, or are
No,
you
I've actually
handheld?
played exclusively in handheld.
That makes sense.
The other thing is that there are times where I feel like the training. So before you start every like for real, every time you go into a level, it has a little training thing to be like, just to like get you used to the rhythm of it. But it's using. They have kind of like a generic song that they use for the training, and
Sure.
then the actual presentation is always kind of a surprise to you once you get into it. And there are times where it's like the training is really difficult, but then you get into the song and it's like, oh, wait, this was super easy with the song, but
Yeah,
for whatever reason, the
interesting.
timing in the training was really hard to grasp, like harder than the actual level itself.
I always think that stuff is so strange when you are doing things in time to music that aren't like play the music, where it's like, what cues am I supposed to be taking from this music to be like, I'm not like jumping every time there's a hi-hat hit or something.
But sometimes it's really clear.
Yeah, sure.
And then other times there are songs where it is less clear. I don't really know. I don't really know how else to describe it.
Sure.
Yeah, sometimes it's really obvious to me, and sometimes the music seems completely unhelpful.
Well, if we ever play it together, we can talk about it together and maybe shed a little light on what's happening here. I do think it's interesting that we are now 2 weeks after Star Fox has come out, 2.5 weeks, and you and I both really enjoyed our first week with Star Fox. Here we are in our second week. Neither of us have played it since.
Yeah, I actually did play a little bit.
You did play a little. Okay.
I did play a little bit. I was in Sector Y, and I just, for the life of me, could not kill that boss. And so that kind of made me put it away.
Yeah, putting away childish things.
Well, also Rhythm Heaven Groove came out, and I only have so much time to play video games.
Right. Speaking of only having so much time to play video games, Mark, I have continued to play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition.
I'll be honest, I didn't know if this was a typo or not.
Why?
That you actually you continue
to
play
it on here?
Yeah.
I am at the beginning of Chapter 6 right now. I have put about 10 hours into the game. This is far and away the deepest I've been into any Xenoblade Chronicles game. I had registered a complaint, concern / question about how I was playing it in the Discord this week. Because there is a very early, the first kind of cave thing, the first mission you go on, basically there's a cave that you go through, and there are a handful of enemies in this cave that killed me, right? Just regular, they're not boss encounters or anything like that, just regular old enemies in there that I not leveled up enough to fight. And this is not how that is not the kind of every RPG and JRPG that I've ever played. If I'm early game somewhere and I'm walking through a area that I have to go through and I'm having random encounters, I don't expect any of those random encounters to wipe me out, right? Or for me to have no chance against them. And that's just part of the game vocabulary of Xenoblade Chronicles.
That's really interesting. So I didn't realize, because I was following the discussion in the Discord, and I didn't realize that it was random encounters.
Well, you see them on the map.
Oh, okay.
But it's you're walking through a cave, and unless you're hugging the side of the wall, you will have to fight this thing.
I see.
So I had to make the choice to not engage rather than it's early game, I should fight everything to grind and level
sure,
up. Right?
Yeah.
So and I also once you progress to chapter 3 or something, you're out on the plains, and the plains have a lot of enemies that are scaled to your level, but then also enormous enemies that you'll target them and it'll be level 73, and you're nope, I will come back to you in 30 hours or something. And that I totally get. Enemies that as you visually scan them, you're that thing's out of my league, right? But anyway, once I just acquiesce to there will be some enemies that I should be avoiding, that running away is a valid battle technique here. Fine, great. And now I'm just playing Xenoblade Chronicles.
And
it's okay. It's fun. I'm having fun. The story is so simple, or at least at this point it's so simple. There are human survivors, there are robots, they're at war with each other. The humans have a weapon called the Monado. Your main character, Shulk, has the Monado. It's a sword type thing. Maybe it's also a machine that does a good job of beating back these robot bad guys. And it also lets Shulk see the future. And then he can try to change the future, right? And it's kind of just the adventures of these survivors as they continue to battle against the robots. I assume the narrative is going to get more complicated than that or whatever, but neither the story nor the characters are what I'm enjoying about this game. Characters are all kind of thin, kind of tropey, but what I do find sort of endlessly compelling as I'm exploring this game is its sense of scope. The world of Xenoblade Chronicles is titans that like got frozen in battle with each other, and you exist like in the bodies and on top of the bodies.
That always was such a cool premise
It's
to me.
so cool. And like there'll be times where you're like running around and you're like, oh, I can like see this guy's like knuckles or whatever. And like the world always seems just like impossibly big. Every mine that you go into just like opens up and it's like Kazakh Doom, right? And like its sense of scale is just staggering over and over and over again. Which does mean that there's a lot of like running between stuff that takes too long. I did unlock the like the hover bike that is part of the new Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and now I ride that thing around. Hover bike is fun. Also makes traversing the map not bad, not boring at all. Like I have a lot of fun playing the game. I've also like wrapped my head around the combat system, which is very like passive in a lot of ways, but there are enough choices that you can make with your party leader. I'm just leaving Shulk as my party leader. That like are positionally dependent or like status dependent. So like you want to hit an enemy with break and then have someone else use topple, which flips them over if you do them in that order, and then you can use special topple move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like there is enough like cause and effect and like sort of like active stuff in there that I feel as though I'm actually engaged in the battles. I will say that to get the hover bike, you have to do like a little mini quest, which is nothing. You just like run back to a place and like give one of those weird little round guys. I don't know what they're called. They're like these creatures that are in all those Xenoblade games.
Not Moogles.
They are not Moogles, Mark. And just give him some power stuff, and then it creates this bike for you. In getting the bike, the game gives you like 10,000 experience points, and I think that that's probably like, up where if you were like revisiting this game after a long time and you were like, oh great, I can get this hover bike now, that you'd be like, hey, that's a nice little bonus. For me at like level 20 or whatever, the 10,000 experience points leveled all my guys up 4 times.
Yeah, awesome.
So I was like, heck yeah. And now I'm just sort of like steamrolling for a little while, and fighting everything because nothing threatens me anymore. But yeah, I'm not, Mark. I am not going to say that I am Xenoblade pilled, because I am not. But I am playing this game and enjoying it, and I anticipate like going back to it and continuing to play it. In some senses, though, I am like, this is a holiday weekend. I had a little bit more time than usual to like play games, and I chose to spend it with Xenoblade. How long will this be the case?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles.
Remind me, is it an action RPG or is it turn-based? How does the combat work?
Yeah, so the combat works in that like you are leading a party of up to 3 characters, and you really only directly control the leader, right? And the other 2 just like attack when you're in a battle scenario, or they use their abilities, whatever. And you can set what abilities they have equipped, which they'll just like choose the right one of those. And you have all these like extra abilities that are on like a cooldown function, and you recharge those by doing like the basic attack. You don't push a button to do the basic attack. You just position yourself near the enemy and they attack. And so there's, so in some ways it's a little bit like the Final Fantasy VII remake battle system, except you don't have to push the button to actually like do the attacks.
Yeah.
And also you're not like juggling the characters. You're letting the other 2 do what they will. Yeah, it's definitely not turn-based. I'm definitely running around and like, watching a bunch of different abilities cool down so I can use them again. So yeah, it's it doesn't feel super active, but like I have to pay attention to it.
Yeah. Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, I know, right? I like I said, I've finished chapter 5. I'm in the 6th chapter. There are 17 chapters in the game total, right? And so I'm like, am I a third of the way through this game? I don't think so. I've only been playing for 10 hours. And every source that I've consulted with is like 45 and a half hours or more just to finish it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not excited about that.
But maybe with the Switch 2 edition stuff, like the motorcycle and that 10,000 extra experience points.
Maybe.
maybe it shaves a little bit off of
Maybe
that.
yeah, maybe just like a straight 45 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Very cool.
I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles on Switch too. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing that is what we've been playing this week. That's what we've been playing this week. Here's how this setup goes. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Of course, we'll check in on Nintendo Music first. So we're recording this on Sunday. We usually record on Monday. So let's just assume that tomorrow Mario Kart World tracks will be added.
Yes.
But on Thursday, 15 tracks were added from Rhythm Heaven Groove as part of a special release timed with the release of the game itself.
Yeah, we actually didn't talk about this when you were talking about Rhythm Heaven. Are you enjoying the music of Rhythm Heaven Groove?
Again, early days. So there are some I think original songs with lyrics, pop songs. The ones I've encountered so far are all J-pop. I understand that that's not entirely the case the more that you venture into the game. And as with anything, there are some tracks that are really fun. There are some tracks that I kind of just find obnoxious. Not just the tracks with lyrics, just the regular original ditties that they've come up with for these rhythm games. But yeah, so I would say music overall good so far.
Music overall good. Would you say that and I think that's just true of the medium. Music overall good. Isn't there an Onion article that's like Pitchfork gives music like a 6.7 or something? But are you not encountering any like Mario tunes or
no, and I don't
Happy
anticipate
Birthday.
that's no, and I don't anticipate will be the case. I think
Okay.
all of the games feature music that is just original to the games themselves.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Okay,
As far as that,
kind of a light week, I think.
kind of a light week. You have highlighted here Backyard Baseball releasing digitally on Switch 2.
There's a new backyard baseball game. Sort of a miracle that the series is back for a new game's coming out on Switch. Or Switch 2 at any rate, on Thursday.
I'm looking at it here. Maybe there's a new Digimon game, Digimon Storytime Stranger, on Friday, July 10th. But I couldn't tell you definitively that that's a new game and not, I don't know, some game that was released digitally previously and is re-releasing.
Although it is coming out both on Switch 2 and Switch at the same time. So
yes,
that leads me to believe that it is a new game.
Here we go. It's a 2025
Nope.
game that was released on PS5, Xbox, and Windows in 2025 and releasing on Switch and Switch 2 this week.
Also, just want to shout out that, of course, at the end of this week, starting on Friday, the Tetris 99 Tetris Maximus Cup is coming up. We mentioned it on the show last week, and then we're like, it's a good thing that we talk about these in the news portions, because otherwise I feel like I would forget these things. Let's just remember that it's happening this weekend.
Yes, and it's the Star Fox themed one.
Did I not say that?
I don't think so.
I think I think you're probably right.
I think you said Tetris 99 Tetris Maximus Cup.
Yes.
Which
is what it's
Star
called.
Fox edition.
Yes. All right. Well, so those are the new releases. Let's close this out. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433 when a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo, so for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you saw Toy Story 5 this weekend.
Yes, and Patrick, you saw Toy Story 5 as well.
Not this weekend, but previously, yes.
We've both seen Toy Story 5.
Yes, which means, of course, now that we are prepared to rank the Toy Story movies.
Now, small caveat up front.
Okay.
I haven't seen 1, 2, or 3
Ever.
Yeah, that's right. No, for a really long time. I don't even know the last time I've seen them.
I want to do this ranking. I've only seen 4 and 5.
I've only seen 4 and 5, but I have really strong opinions.
Uh-huh.
No, I've seen them all, but I haven't seen 1, 2, or 3. And I don't think I've seen 3 since it was released in theaters, and 1 and 2, probably before that. So it's been a long time, 15 years since I've seen those movies.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Just before we get into an actual ranking here, I feel like there's a lot of just other content around the Toy Story characters, right? Like there was that whole like Forky Asks a Question series on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And there are all these like small fry things, which is like a sort of like chibi Buzz Lightyear gets involved in stuff. There's like a Hawaiian thing. Those are not on the table here.
No, not on the table.
And Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, not on the table.
Not on the table.
Also,
that's the hand-drawn animated one?
That's right.
Yeah, not on the table.
Okay, what about, because this is a Pixar movie, what about Lightyear?
I didn't see it.
Okay, do you want to include it on the ranking or not?
Sure, why not?
Okay, great.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great.
Okay. Do you have an inkling of how this is going to go?
Or
of your preferences here?
I think, with the caveat that I haven't seen it for over 15 years, I think 2 is the best of the movies.
2 is your favorite.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite is either 1 or 2. There's something about 2 that feels, I don't know, the fact that the toys go on this like extraction mission across town, and I know like that's how like the movies evolve to that, where it's like, yeah, they are worldly beings that go out in the world and like affect real stuff happening. For whatever reason, that always ends up being a narrative hurdle to me in 2, but it's so good anyway, and the like dynamics between the prospector and Woody and Jesse and Bullseye is so good, and like so strong that like it continues to like buoy the series from there on out. Then I think I agree with you that I think 2's probably the best, but then I think I go number 1 right after that.
Yeah, I won't really push back on that. I know 3 is a very beloved movie, and I think it's a good movie, but
I think people mostly just like when people like gush about Up, they're just remembering the first 7 minutes. I think people who are gushing about Toy Story 3 are just remembering the last 20, because the rest of the movie is like fine, it works, but it's not like,
my memory of the rest of the movie is that it's kind of just 2 over again in some ways.
In a lot of ways, it's kind of just 2 over again, and like there's nothing wrong with like the friendly toy character turns out to be bad, but like the prospector and Lotso, like pretty similar characters, all things told. So yeah, that's but I still like 3.
I do too. No, I don't think they've made there's a bad Toy Story movie.
Right.
Like 3 is really good. The stuff with Andy growing up and going off to college, like all of that, very affecting. I like that they introduced Bonnie, who plays a huge role in 5. Humans play a huge role in 5, like more than
arguably 5 is about Bonnie.
yeah.
But so let's talk about but before we like place 3 definitively, let's talk about 4 and 5. I recently rewatched 4 and was like kind of let down by it.
I saw 4 in theaters,
yes,
but it's been 7 years, whatever. I have no memory of like the themes of that movie. Like, what is that movie saying? Because I think 5, has a pretty definitive, like, here is what the growth for this character, the human character and like the toy characters, like this is what they learn. 4, I don't really remember. I just don't remember what the point of that movie was. I'm sure it had one.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like, we're gonna finish this though. I think the point of 4 was like Woody realizing that he needs to define himself outside of being a toy in service to a kid. And so like he realizes that Bo Peep has found this like other way in life, right? Like so many, the first 3 Toy Stories, the like answer for Woody, the sort of like his religion of like
his reason for being
is have fun with a kid, and that gets challenged in 4, and he discovers like another reason for being.
That's interesting. Again, I don't remember that at all. That's interesting because 5 plays with something very similar, just with a different character, with Jesse instead of Woody.
Yes, but it's also and Woody is there, but like Woody has not. It's not his goal to have fun with a kid. It's to like help abandoned toys find their purpose, right. So that's like toys helping toys. It's there's a part where like the metaphor starts to fall apart, where you're just like, oh no, now we just have to deal with the reality of these. They are like living creatures that have like sentience, and what does it mean for us to be playing with them? Which is where I think 4 gets like too bogged down. Also, I think that like those Key and Peele plushies are like a little strange and like derail like the tone of that movie. They appear briefly in 5, but they do not have
silently.
lines.
Yes. Yeah.
So okay, just give me your 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I would go 2, 1 probably.
Mhm.
3, 5, 4.
I think I go 2, 1, 3, 5, 4 as well.
Yeah.
But ask me on another day, it could be 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. I just think 4 is the worst, and not that it's bad.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think they've made a bad one, but it definitely. I should probably rewatch all of these, and then we can re-rank it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, and actually, they did make a bad one. It's called Lightyear. That one goes at the bottom of the list. That movie stonks. All right, Mark. Today we were accompanied by pianist Kyle Shaw. Let's get into the news.
Rumor time.
There is a robot cat.
Yeah.
There is a robot cat in Lightyear, and he's kind of funny.
Right. I remember that from the trailers.
Yeah. But like, that's it. Okay, sorry. Rumor time.
Oh, sorry. Can we talk about Toy Story a little bit more just for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I like how in 5 I feel like they've done a good job of creating new characters.
Yes.
So they've kept the legacy characters from the first one. Some of them are silent now because their voice actors have died. And then some of them still talk. They only have like 1 or 2 lines. Like Rex speaks in this movie, even though his voice actor
Wallace Shawn is still alive.
Oh, not Rex. I'm sorry, not Rex. Slinky Dog.
Yes. But Jim Varney's been dead for a long time.
I know. So, but I guess I just don't have no idea who's doing.
It's just
the
like a
voice
sound
of
alike or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is.
But like Mrs. Potato Head says nothing.
Right.
Featured in the movie quite a bit, but or
Right.
like in the background, not. But
I mean, both the Potato Head actors are dead, right?
yeah, but Mr. Potato Head talks in this movie.
And it's weird.
Well, I just thought
there are just so many characters.
There's just so many now because there's like the little like Shakespearean porcupine whose name I don't remember. But
yeah, his name is like Mr. Pricklepants.
But like
or
he's
something.
fun. Anyways,
and Trixie the dinosaur.
Yes,
like she's good.
Uh-huh.
Jeff Garlin plays a unicorn. Like I like Bonnie's toys.
I think they've done a good job of like keeping that core group and introducing new likable toys, but being able to balance like the new ones, the old ones.
Yeah,
I think they did.
I had said this before we started recording. We're still talking about Toy Story. That I wish Woody wasn't in this one. He's not in Bonnie's collection, but they like call him in to like help with the mission, and he like is gone before the resolution. And I'm like, we kind of just don't need Woody in this story. He's just sort of taking up space. But like. And it'd just be good for the franchise to be like, we can do one of these without Woody, and eventually we can do one of these without Buzz. But there are so many Buzzes in this movie.
There are, and I liked all of that.
I did too. Not to give any of that away, but I liked all the Buzz stuff.
And it was fun to just be like, I know that this is all going to tie together somehow.
Yes.
But yeah, anyways.
I just have to like trust the process.
Okay, Nintendo stuff.
Fine.
Rumor time, and it's a biggie for Metroid fans. A rating for a new Metroid game appeared in materials from Brazil's Ministry of Justice and Public Security, which is basically the government division that rates games in Brazil. So a new games rating, basically.
Right.
How we're learning about so many Nintendo games through like third party and otherwise through game rating board leaks. Here's another one potentially.
That's a ship that needs to get patched up, right? Because it is leaky.
I guess there's only think of how many different like regulatory bodies
I know.
A game has to be submitted to.
And if it only leaks through one, that's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Nintendo plays things so close to the vest that if they anyways, we're bearing the lead here.
Yes.
The lead is that a new Metroid game is potentially coming. We don't know for sure. So a rating for Metroid Ravenous. showed up
Yes.
on the Brazilian website, was eventually pulled down, is my understanding, but appears to have been legit.
Yes, and it was rated for children over 12 due to violence, and then parenthetically, weapons, blood, death, and light sexual content. Which wasn't there one of the Metroid games that got a similar rating, also saying light sexual content, and we were like, "What the heck is that? Like,
Is that just Zero Suit Samus?
is it just Zero Suit Samus?
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah, so this is really exciting. Of course, Dread, the previous 2D Metroid game, released in 2021. And so that was 5 years ago. And then 5 years before that
Well,
was
4 years before that.
or 4 years
Yeah.
before that was Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS.
Right.
So
That's enough
the
time.
timing seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Uh
So I like, and the other thing is that the title Ravenous is obviously evocative of Ravenbeak, who is the villain in Metroid Dread, right?
right.
And is a character with like a complicated moveset and history connected to Samus. So it is like, are we exploring that character? Are we again being attacked by that character, or his acolytes, or whatever?
Right.
Like it seems like there is a lot that we could, like the name makes sense and rocks.
Yes, also when you think, or it's interesting to think about, like Metroid Dread, that name and how it related to the Emmys. So, there was like a new
Right.
like gameplay thing, like a new gameplay mechanic that tied into the name. And so how would Ravenous as like a name, does that what could the gameplay thing be that
Yes.
the title hints at?
Yeah. Well, and like it's cool to see like, obviously we know nothing. We have one new word. That's all we have. But the idea that it could be something that, because like Ravenous evokes like, a sort of like violence and desperation, right? And like, that's not the character of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, right? Like, Beyond, that's an outer space. That's a look at these strange new worlds, the Star Trek imagery, and then like Ravenous, like that's horror movie imagery, and that's, I think, the speed that we like our Metroid games at.
Yeah. So, let's take for granted that this is real and
Yes.
that there is a new Metroid 2D game coming and it is far enough along that it is rated. Where do you think that this falls on Nintendo's release schedule? Is it possible that it's this year? Are we looking at 2027?
I do think that there is a space on the calendar for a game this year, especially like a decent size game. Because like, obviously we got Ocarina of Time coming out at some point this year, probably November. But yeah, I mean, is Switch Sports Resort gonna like eat up all the oxygen in October, or do you need like also kind of a core game? I think it could come out this year, and doesn't need that long of a,
Right, of a reveal to release.
although it's July already.
Well, but could it be a December release? That's where they put Metroid Prime 4.
That's a good point.
Like, could it be early December?
Could be.
Because otherwise, I mean, I know that I have expressed that I'm not that interested in Wii Sports Resort. Switch Sports Resorts. But Switch Sports sold over 15 million copies. I think closer to like 18 million.
Right.
So clearly there is an appetite for it. But yes, could you do that and a Metroid game? Yes, I think.
Right.
I feel
They feel like non-competing markets, even if some people are going to be buying both of them, you and me, or me at least. That like, yeah, there's room for it.
Where would you expect this to be revealed? Like in a September Nintendo Direct? If they do that, could they release it could they reveal and release within the calendar year? That'd be like 3 months if there was a September Nintendo Direct and let's say they released it in December.
It's a good question. I was going to say it's possible that they just like reveal it in Nintendo Today, right? And then it comes out a couple months later. But the only example we have of that is Splatoon Raiders, and it was revealed more than a year before
That's
the
true.
game actually came out.
But we did get a random Star Fox Direct, and that was in April. And
Boy, that's true.
And the game released
That
in
is true.
June.
Yeah, I mean honestly like the old playbook is out,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
true.
it's out the window. I mean, I suppose it is possible that this is a 2027 game, but like, do games get rated this far out?
I feel like we've seen examples of this after the fact, right? Where like wasn't one of
Like
the
Fire Emblem
like
Engage
Fire
or
Emblem?
something? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's possible that this is a game that's done and they're just sitting and waiting for like the moment to release it. Um, and yeah, I don't. What's so interesting is that like everyone is playing, like all game publishers are playing a little bit of a game of how to release the games that you want to put out this year in a world where GTA 6 is going to suck a lot of the oxygen out of the room, right? Um, and maybe just like people are just waiting to see how big of an impact that's going to have. But it's also late enough in November that it's like if you're going to put out a game this year, you have to have a plan going into it, right? But I don't know. You just see like all the other like publishers and first parties like doing all these own goals and making a lot of like earning a lot of bad will from like the plugged in game audience. That like I don't even really think Nintendo we needs like a PR win or anything like that this year. They could just hold it until like next year and there's something else impressive on another platform. They'd be like, well, we also have Metroid.
Yeah, I feel like their schedule for the year, assuming, like you said, that Ocarina of Time releases in November, which would make sense, or like seems fine. They have enough going on without a new Metroid game, so maybe early 2027 does make more sense.
But also, I mean, like, come on. There's there's a gap between so Fire Emblem comes out in September, right? I guess it's just like they're on like the one a month schedule. Is like Fire Emblem comes out in September, Switch Sports is October. We assume that Ocarina of Time will be November. Um, just remember how many games they put out in November and December of last year that I'm like, yeah, you can cram a Metroid game in there, kind of no problem.
Right, especially because as much as Metroid has its fans, we said Dread was the best-selling
Yeah,
game. That still didn't crack 3 million copies.
yeah, right, right.
So, yeah. There's a ceiling on how well those games are going to do.
True, but I mean, they're also, the other thing that Nintendo's doing this year are the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of the Xenoblade Chronicles games, right? The first one is out now, the second one comes out the end of July, and the last one comes out December 3rd. And, those are just like re-releases slash like, upgraded ports, whatever. But like those games also have a ceiling on them. The best-selling Xenoblade Chronicles game is 2, and that didn't sell 3 million copies.
But that is a good reminder that they do have something dated for December.
That's true.
So it really
Right.
just leaves August as the month where they don't have anything dated currently, right?
Yes, according to my spreadsheet, there is nothing dated for. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is July 30th, so like,
Right, and Splatoon Raiders is what, a week before that?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So end of July anyways.
But yeah, I don't know. Cram it in here. Come on.
Well, last week Nintendo released an update for Mario Kart World. It's now version 1.7.0. 2 new routes were added to Knockout Tour, one called Drill Rally and another called Boomerang Rally.
Cool. I like this. Add new routes through the. Come on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, apparently there are 6 additional slots for potential future routes.
Yeah, they just have little question marks on them right now.
Right, which is pretty cool. Like we said at the top of the show, it doesn't seem to me like they're all that interested in DLC because this is a lot of content that could just be saved for DLC that they seem to just
For, like,
be
paid-
metering out for free.
For like paid DLC.
Yeah,
you
paid
mean. Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah, one like it's interesting still that like these new routes, it's obviously still using like the existing world, right? Like we're not getting new tracks and we're not getting new characters. It really is just like using the existing tools in new ways. And like there are so many cool tools and that world is great. And like, yeah, please just keep adding to it and refining it.
You can also now place stickers that you have earned on the photos you take in photo mode. So just another
Yeah.
nice little addition.
And it's also nice because like you collect so many stickers as you're going around that like the free roam mode, from like the POW blocks, right? Those little like obstacle course things. It's like just the thing that you earn over and over again, and the second you earn it, you forget about it. But if you can use it in a photo, like I know that's not like a lot, but like that's something.
This was not mentioned in Nintendo's press release about the update, but apparently item drop rates for racers in first place and other high places have been altered for the first 20 seconds of the race.
Yes. So now you can get a triple mushroom or whatever at the beginning of the race, even if you're in first place. So it's sort of like trying to disincentivize like waiting on the start line and letting everyone go ahead of you, and then like getting good items to like overtake people at the beginning of the race. It's interesting that like they would have to develop strategies to like try to counteract the like extreme rubber banding that they built into the game.
Yeah. Plus there are some other tweaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the update. There was a Nintendo Direct for Splatoon Raiders last Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't know how much like specific detail we need to go into necessarily, but I would say the Direct did a good job of hyping me up for this game.
Yeah,
even
I would
more.
agree.
They talk about like the
sorry, you said being more. You said that you were hyped up about the game being more.
Or I said maybe even more is what I meant to say.
Hyped up even more. I see. I understand. Yeah. That like I don't think they really showed any new like angles to the game conceptually, so much as just we're like, here's there's over 100 weapons. Here are the salmonids you're going to be fighting.
Right, and like here's like the new type of salmonids.
Yes.
These seasoned salmonids that are even more difficult. It really does.
Which is funny because they're covered in salt and they call them seasoned. I think that's good.
Yes, it is very good. It is interesting to see like the different elements from the game, because they talk about like the locations that you visit, and the levels seem very similar to what you would see in the single player of like Splatoon.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's playing with the same pieces, but also there's more variety in like, this is a frozen area, this is like more arid, instead of in the single player in the Splatoon games, it's always these like void spaces that don't really have a real sense of place. It's just like you're floating in a white void, and there are these platforms that just happen to be here, versus an area that's like natural and purpose built.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit more like places that exist, right? I also like, they showed off that you go down into like, you can drill down into like other layers of these things and get sort of like discrete challenges on those various levels, and it seems like the challenge level intensifies as you go deeper, and I don't know, it all seems like pretty well conceptualized. It always seems like there's so much going on when they're showing off parts of this game, and they have different gadgets and tanks that are sort of act as your like the sub weapons.
Yeah, sub weapons are gone.
Right.
Like the sub weapons that you know from Splatoon are gone in replace of these gadgets.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of these gadgets, like I think they're just like there's more stuff happening with them, right? It's a little bit more chaotic that wouldn't like make sense really in like the PvP of the original game. And also like you upgrade these things, like individual components of these things, like it lasts longer, deals more damage, moves a little bit faster, whatever. And I just hope that the like internal balancing of this game is like attuned to that. It feels like there's so much customization.
Yes, it feels like the delta from where like it just seems like the loadouts on different players could end up being very different, like how you decide you want to build out your character and then upgrade, and which weapons you're using and upgrading those weapons, and all these different upgrade paths. One thing I like is they also have this call for help, which reminds me very much of like From Software games, where you can summon another player to help you in like a boss battle or something. They've introduced that sort of mechanic into this game. They call it call for help, and so you can summon another player. And if you're playing online, you can like see those requests and choose to jump in and help. And then once you use it, there's like a cooldown period.
Yeah.
So you can't just spam it. Outfits play a really big part in it, of course, because this is Splatoon. I bet the music is going to be really fun. I hope that it's mostly original music.
Yeah, I mean, I would also expect them to. There's so much music in the Splatoon series already that I wouldn't be surprised if they reuse a lot of it. But yeah,
Anyways, yes, very excited for this.
me too. And we won't have to wait that long, just a couple weeks.
An in-store demo is also available in North America right now at like Best Buy, Walmart, Target, and GameStop with 3 levels and a variety of different weapons to try out.
Yeah.
Last week, PlayStation. We talked about this a little bit at the top of the show on Thursday, but
Yeah, and we don't have a ton of info written down here, but I thought we could just talk about this for a little bit.
yeah, PlayStation announced that effective January 2028, they would no longer produce discs for physical versions of their games, and they later clarified this a little bit to mean that games released like starting in January 2028. So if a game was released in December 2027 and a publisher wanted to reprint that, they would have the capability to do so, at least for the foreseeable future. But starting in January 2028, they would no longer produce discs for physical versions.
Right, and this is sort of like part and parcel with another announcement that went out on the PlayStation blog that they would be shutting down the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 3 online stores. I forget exactly what the timing for that is, but
next year.
Next year, okay. But so like that, and then we're a couple weeks removed from a bunch of movies that were purchasable, movies and TV shows that were purchasable from the PlayStation store have been removed from the library, meaning that even if you bought them, you can no longer access that and are not offered a refund or whatever. Like this thing that you bought, you never really bought. You only had like a license that could be revocable, and it has been revoked. So all of this stuff kind of bundled together, being like these digital storefronts are no longer available. These things you've already purchased are no longer available, and we are no longer going to be providing physical discs for any games on PlayStation. That doesn't just mean PlayStation first-party games. It means that like PlayStation 6 is not going to have a disc drive. Right? And they probably won't even sell like an add-on one for you to play your old discs. They are really taking this under control and being like, no, we will be the sole distribution platform for our games. You can only buy them digitally.
Yeah, seemingly they are planning for some sort of like box version to be in a store, but it's like code in box.
Right, which is also we learned in the last like week or two that is going to be Grand Theft Auto 6 is a code in a box. It's not even like a disc that then like triggers the download of the game. There is no physical object that represents your ownership of the game.
Yeah.
Which means then that there is no physical objects that represents your ability to trade it in or lend it to a friend or sell it or whatever.
Yeah. And after this announcement, Frank Cifaldi of the Video Game History Foundation put out a statement, saying that this is a loss for a lot of reasons, but it's actually not a real challenge for that it's not that bad for game preservationists because things are already bad for game preservationists. So like this does not change how difficult it is to preserve video games because games that are released on disc today, don't actually contain the entire game. There are patches and downloads and additional stuff like that. And he used the opportunity to reiterate that like the ESA there needs to be a real solution for game preservation, and the answer can't just be, well, download it to your PS5 and have that be like preserving it forever. That's not like real game preservation.
Yeah. Well, and I think there are kind of like two things happening here. And like one of them is game preservation for sure, but the other is just like the concept of ownership. And in like a world where so many products that we buy are digital, we're again, don't actually buy them. You are like for who knows how long leasing the right to access it, because a digital product, unless you are just downloading it to your thing and it never like pings a server, is dependent on that server existing and that company existing. And like there are we can be reasonably well assured that like Nintendo's going to exist for a while, but like how long before they shut down the Switch store, right? I know it seems like we're going to be on this train forever, and they will continue building on it as we go into like future Switch generations. But forever is a long time, and you don't own your Switch games forever.
Yeah, and all of this is really reliant on benevolent corporations, right?
Right.
Like
Yes.
it's all reliant on companies deciding that they want to continue to support this, and there's no like you were just saying with like the most recent example of on the PlayStation Store of things that people bought just being no longer accessible.
Yes.
You know, there is a long history of that sort of thing happening, not just on PlayStation, but on Amazon and iTunes and like all the different platforms.
Right.
And so it's a real problem. And yes, you know, even as somebody who buys all of my games digitally, there is something that is gross about being, you are just dependent on a corporation deciding that they want to continue to support, you know, the thing that you purchase from them.
Right. Well, and the other, I guess there's another sort of angle to this too, is that all of the sort of like short run like publishers like limited run games or that ilk, like there's a handful of them. If we're going into a world where there exists no disk drive on PlayStation and probably Xbox's Project Helix, their next thing is probably not going to have a disk drive either because they just want you to subscribe to their thing. What are they going to be making?
Right.
Like can those small publishers who are usually like doing retro collections or publishing indie games in a physical
that were
format?
previously digital exclusives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What can they only put those on Nintendo Switch cards? Is that it?
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good. It just that is a like it's a seismic announcement. And also, I'm like, in one way, I'm like, this is just where we've always been going. This was what happened to movies. And in a lot of ways, what happened to music. Like, you don't own music anymore, right? And for whatever reason, we've all been like, Sarah and I were reminiscing about like iPods today and like the click wheel and the 4 buttons and like having to set up what songs in your iTunes library were going on to your iPod, and that like those were all songs that you ripped from CDs or downloaded on an illegal file sharing service, but stuff that you curated and owned and like never had a thought about like wouldn't be available because it's your stuff, you have it.
Yeah. I feel like this announcement made us all face death in the way that, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I know I'm gonna die, but I don't have to confront that fact. But having like a time and a date on this is like, ooh, I've never had to really reconcile the fact that, you know what I mean? Like, what does this mean for all of this to just go away?
Right. Well, and like, you know, I do like the sort of transitory nature of some art. Like I think that's one of the things that's fun about podcasts. I know they do live forever, but they sort of like spark in a specific moment. Then they are born of people speaking in a specific moment, responding to the world around them at that time. And that like after that, you're like, oh, well, that's like an outdated thing. It's just like, it's okay. It doesn't have to, it can still exist, but like it doesn't have to always be relevant. And like, it's one of the reasons why I liked doing improv is that it's like it's a moment that you experience on that stage and then it disappears. But like that's not how I think about video games. For whatever reason, I want them to be forever objects.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's art that benefits from that, but I feel like video games to me are like movies or TV shows or things like that, where it's like there's so many movies that have not been preserved or are considered lost.
Right.
They're like, boy, I sure wish that we were able to like see this thing that used to exist but no longer does. And it's gonna be a real bummer when we start running into that so often with video, because it exists today, it happens today, right? That where there's lost video game media, but I don't know. I think we are fortunate that it doesn't seem like Nintendo is interested in going all digital at this point. I think we benefit from the fact that even though the digital share of game sales is growing in Japan, it is still not as big as it is in the rest of the world, and physical media still has more of a presence. in Japan, and so I think we
and
at
I think
least
just
I think it-
among Nintendo fans, just globally too, right? Like there is there's a little bit of like a collector mindset, not universally among Nintendo fans, but like I feel like it's just a little bit more present in those spaces.
so I think it buys
sometimes,
Nintendo a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Yes.
right? But I mean, even with that, like you don't buy digital versions of the like classics libraries anymore. Like they've locked down on that, where it's like, no, it's a subscription thing, and like you have to ping this server every however long it is, couple weeks, to make sure that you're still a subscriber so you can play these classic games.
And things that were in virtual library for quote unquote purchase are now not part of those subscriptions anymore.
Right, exactly. So like Nintendo's not without sin here.
Yeah,
necessarily.
totally.
But it's I like the convenience, and that's also why we both purchased most of our libraries digitally as well. Is that like the convenience is real nice.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It all feels like a bummer.
It
right?
does. Yes.
And just like in a who knows what world we're going to be putting this podcast out into 2 days from when we record it. But like, I think we're on the precipice of a bunch of Xbox studios closing. And it's just like, the industry grew so much so quickly. And like it is contracting for a lot of different reasons. And none of them doesn't feel good no matter what.
No, it just feels, to me, it also just feels like, another like notch in the belt for like technocrats.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't feel great.
No, that those that are controlling the ones and zeros control everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, finally, we got a release date and a price for the next Kirby Air Riders amiibo. Chef Kawasaki and Hop Star will release on September 3rd for $44.99, which is $10 cheaper than the King DDD amiibo that released last week. What'd you end up doing, Patrick? Did you end up picking it up?
I picked him up.
There you go.
What am I gonna do? So he's a big boy. He's a big chunky boy. King DDD is big. There's another thing that may make this amiibo more expensive. The vehicle that he's on is the one with the treads.
The King DDD.
The King DDD,
yes.
Yeah. So it has these like treads, and in the game it has like 2 modes where you can like turn the treads to the side and it sort of hovers. This amiibo also has, you can remove the treads and turn them 90 degrees and then put them back on. So it has like 1 more degree of articulation on it than the others do. So I will accept the slightly higher price there. But yes, so $49.99 seems like that's what the Meta Knight and like Dark Star amiibo, that's what they were priced at, which is down $5 from the Kirby and Waddle Dee amiibos that were the first pair that they put out.
Got it.
So, and the Meta Knight was originally priced at $50, and then they dropped it $5 before release. So I think that's just where they've landed as the base price for these things, and that there will probably be big ones like the next DDD, I'm imagining, because there's a dark DDD or what have you, that will be $55 again. But I do think so. I've not pre-ordered the Chef Kawasaki one yet because it's only available on Nintendo's website at the moment, at the time of recording. But that is where I'd like to get off the train. Is I want to get the Chef Kawasaki, and then until they put out new characters and not just different colored versions of the existing characters, that I'm going to abstain.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I really like Chef Kawasaki, and so
he's good.
It would have made me sad if you didn't pick it up. I mean, not that should influence your buying behavior at all, because like it's your money. But
right.
I'm glad you're completing the collection.
I mean, I did like actively make the choice of like, I'm gonna pick up King DDD and then probably not get Rhythm Heaven.
Right?
And
sure. Yeah.
And I spent more money on King DDD than I would have on Rhythm Heaven. I put him up, on the bookshelf with the other Kirby Air Riders amiibo. And like the first night, Sarah was like, "Oh, is King DDD new?" And I was like, "She's spotting him. She knows and knows the character's name." I was so surprised. All right, Mark, that's the news. Let's close this out. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, if you would like to be in our Discord, you can be. All you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers, saying thank you for listening.